I grew up not being a very good businessman. I grew up with a lot of good intentions and hoping that people naturally have the same good intentions. I grew up in the church environment. So there's a level of peace and honesty and credibility that came with that environment. And I went straight from that environment to the industry that was totally opposite, right? And growing up, there's been this strong message of don't change yourself, don't dilute yourself. So I tried to stay the same way that I knew how to be, and unfortunately I was taken advantage of over and over again, but I guess the strength in me was not letting that slow me down. I guess for every time I took an L, I was quick to appreciate it and figure out what's next. Now, I'll give you a quick analogy. I started throwing parties, and just before my party phase looked like it was about to die, I discovered Dami Crane, who gave me a new ginger into talent management, right? Dami Crane did what happened with Dami Crane happened. Both of us were childish at the time, right? But before me and Dami Crane split, I met Vector through working with Dami Crane, right? And then Dami Crane and I split, and then Vector came along. But I built that connection through Dami Crane, right? I met Jimmy Jack through Vector. Just before Vector split, Jimmy Jack took me on, right? So the way I kind of see things, or the way I've been looking at things really, is like to see the positive in every side. Like if I didn't work with Dami, I probably wouldn't have met Vector on the level that I met him. I would have met him, but he wouldn't have had proof of work to want me immediately, if that makes any sense. So I took the experiences and the access and everything that came with each phase over the money, and I moved with it, and I guess that's why I could always move to the next thing without dwelling too much, or not even letting how the last person treated me affect how I deal with the next person. And so, yeah, so at this time, I was done mentally. I was done with MTech, as I'd seen what MTech could show me with the numbers. And unfortunately, the vast game at the time was not advancing. So I knew that was kind of like the end of that industry, and there was nothing there for me. The one game that got me really excited about the partnership fell off. So I was just like, oh, man, there's really not much for me here anymore. So I started shopping. However, bear in mind, I'd come from no income and just streets, figuring it out. When it shall come, skip it. When it doesn't come, we will. To having your money drop every 26th of the month for 2 years. So my life I don't balance small. So I'm like, oh, no, am I gonna go back into this uncertainty pool that I'm coming from after these 2 years of stability? So I was like deliberating this, should I not? But the good thing was that MTech was my first actual corporate job. So I wasn't scared to go back into the streets. I was kind of like already molded for the streets, although it wasn't paying me. I kind of already knew how to, yeah, not get frustrated, not, just all I needed to figure out was the cash part of it. So I kept on going, and I resigned, and then one day, I can't remember, someone hit me up and said I should meet them up at Hard Rock. And then I got to Hard Rock, and then there was this conversation going on. I couldn't quite piece what was going on, but I could tell something was going on. And I saw MI and a bunch of other people. And shortly after, Warner Music called me and said, listen, we've closed the merger with Chocolate City. This was what was meant to happen with MTech at the time, but due to one or two things, I think the CC pitch was more ready for them to go with. And they were like, listen, we like all the stuff that you showed us at MTech. I don't know if your head is there. Like, we're looking for somebody that can come and join this, our Nigerian partnership, and show some things. And I mean, I'm just like, one eye is asking me if my head is there. I don't understand. Like, my head has been there since when I resumed, So quickly, the lady was like, cool, you know what? Because obviously there's this partnership with Chocolate City, and I'm working in Nigeria, I have to work with Chocolate City and resume with Chocolate City, but report to them. So I'm like, I didn't really like the idea, but I'm just like, give me a better salary. Because MTech for me, I was wearing shirt and trouser every day. There was dress code. I must wear shoe, trouser. You're only allowed to wear polo, t-shirts, and trad on Fridays. And my jeans and slippers, bro, so that 2 years was like, I mean, Babcock again, but in Lagos for me, So there was a lot of things about the environment. I'm just like, oh, more okay, cool, but it was good bread for my first job. Like, it was really good bread. So I told one, I said, listen, if you can match what these guys are paying me, I'm not down for this. And I told one straight, I'll tell you the reasons why I'm leaving MTech. It's not money, because they've not sacked me. I said, this dress code P is stressful for the environment in itself. It's stressful for me. I'm not a 9 to 5 guy. MTech, I resume 7 a.m. in the morning and close 4 p.m. If you resume 7:15, you're late. But if you resume before 7:05, you get 1,000 naira every day. So for every month, if you come to the office early, you get free 30 something K to your salary. Random. It felt like school. But anyway, when I gave me the offer, they said, okay, you know what, 3 working days a week, deliverables versus attendance, if that makes any sense. And that's kind of like where my head wanted to go. And I'm just like, okay, you're saying more like my kind of stuff. So we started talking about the roles, deliverables and stuff. And after a while, they introduced me to the CC guys out there and we did have cash negotiation. That took a minute because they didn't want to pay what I was asking for, but what I wanted to pay. We finally found a midpoint, and then started the job. Yes, so I resumed as head A&R for Chocolate City Warner Music at the time, and in like 3 months, I was promoted to vice president. And I mean, so I was VP A&R for a year, and we started that, and for me, that was another level of opening. Now, for those who know me really well, people know that my relationship with that working environment is kind of here and there, particularly on the Nigerian side. However, there were a lot of good things that came out of that experience for me. Firstly, it was my first time working with an actual primary music business company, if that makes any sense. MTech was a primary technology company. Music was just an industry that they had advantages in, and they were providing tech solutions for the music industry, right? But Warner on the first side, on the other hand, was or is a music business primarily first off, right? So I got in there as VP A&R, and for the first time I saw this many staff working under a record label, and I'm like, what are all of you guys doing? You have 2 offices, one in Ckay, one in Bagada, one in Oniru. And I'm just like, it looked like a lot. Like, how many people are working one record? Like, it didn't make sense to me. So when I came in, I started like building systems and structures and started training us and all of that stuff. So I did a lot of like seminars, trainings. They built like this network of A&Rs across the Warner platform across the world. So I had direct access to Warner A&Rs from different territories for whatever productive conversations were required. So I started seeing like the music business structure firsthand. And for me, I was looking at MTech numbers as local sales, ringback tunes and stuff like that. I started seeing global iTunes, Spotify, streaming numbers. They were not as crazy as they are now, but I started seeing in real time. And then TikTok came about, Triller came about, just how all of these things pieced together. Under the label, my first project at the time under the label was Ckay's project. Actually, before Ckay, we had a first task to streamline the roster, right? Because Chocolate City at the time had like, I can't remember how many artists, but they had their artists under their roster that were not really quite doing much. They were just, I don't know what it was, but they just had that many artists. And there was probably only MI or somebody else really doing anything. So I was like, we don't need this much weight on the roster. Shut this thing down to 3, 4 people at best, and give everybody what you can, and let's push. So we had a group of Yoruba rappers called the Street Billionaires, 3 boys and 1 girl. We shortlisted them and picked up only the girl. She's Candy Bleaks now. She's pretty much blowing on the streets. There was Ckay, there was Dice, there was MI. MI pretty much wasn't really our problem because he was already sorted. There was Black Bones, and I guess that was pretty much it. That's how we kind of like restricted the roster to Ckay, Black Bones, Dice, and Candy. And then we had 1 girl in development. So we started pushing, and then obviously history, CK had dropped Container Don't Land before I joined the label, like 2, 3 years before. Song had done viral damage. And then the year I joined, they had dropped a song called Way. Way is a song with him and Lambo, DJ Lambo, and the song had already done its thing as well. Clarence Peter shot this really sick video, and the song was topping charts, but because of the kind of song it was, it topped charts for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and just naturally just started coming down. New releases, etc. Right? And at that time, we were trying to figure out there was a big void with CK's brand because he was making music. We're not quite sure his sound because he had different kinds of songs coming up. He didn't necessarily have an image or a style or a brand. We were still trying to figure all of this out. All we had was his music. And the music wasn't one way. It was like, the guy is musically a genius. I give it to him. So he had like all kinds of weirdly sounding things and different kinds of genres. I'm like, we need to find what is your primary. Yeah, and then now we'll show everybody your skills after, but we need to get your go-to first. So we tried. We're dropping songs, recording songs. Nothing was giving us the chills, And so my department, and this is what I was saying about the beautiful thing about the system is we had departments for literally almost everything as far as music is concerned. There was a digital marketing department that was run by Moyo. Moyo was in charge of everything, digital marketing, YouTube ads, search engine, sponsored ads, all that stuff. Integrating with TikTok, trailer, anything that had to do with digital campaigns fell under Moyo's desk. And Moyo had a team working under him, right? There was a content team headed by Shimon Omis, and that was photographer, videographer, graphics guy, editor, all of those stuff. We were working for him. So viral content, behind the scenes, those were his guys. Then there was my department, A&R. We were about 6. Each artist had a dedicated A&R, and then I oversaw everything. So CK's A&R, Ckay Exodus, sound amazing guy. He had been extremely on CK's project, but the label wasn't kind of hearing him at the time because of what the structure was. So when I came in, I guess I was a bit more accessible to him. So he would come and just be singing all kinds of CK updates in my ear. I'm like, bro, slow down. Like, I'm trying to get my foot in here. I understand your passion for your artist, but but she didn't let me rest. You gotta report me to CEO, report me, this guy's not answering me, blah, blah. So after a while, I was just like, okay, you know what? I'll give this guy more attention. I bet. What do you want? So he kept on telling me, boss, this CK sound that we're talking about, it's not so hard. I think we can crack it. I think I have the idea. I'm like, okay, what? And it's like CK put out a project before I joined. That Way was a part of that project, the song they were pushing. And apparently Love Nwantitit was also a part of that project, right? But everyone had dropped the project, pushed Way, and had moved on from the project. And Ckay was like, boss, go back to that EP and listen to that song, Love Nwantitit. That, in my opinion, that is CK's default. And I was like, send me the project. And he sent it to me. And it took me some days. I was listening to things over and over and over and over again. And I realized from that project, Way was the only pop-like sounding song. But because he had dropped Container that was also pop-like, the label was naturally going to go that direction. But that's not his sound. Business, yeah. So they were going with Way, and Ckay was like, I think this is his natural sound. So we had all kinds of conversations and said, you know what? Let's get into a writing camp. Let's lock these guys in the studio. Let them just be making music. So we started doing camps for all the artists. Everybody was making music. We're happy with some, we're not happy with some. Guys came up with Pim, smash hits. We're like, Dice and Olamide, drop that one. CK, we're trying to figure out what to do with CK, trying so hard. Black Bones was going, we shut up. Like, Black Bones was like an automatic machine. That one just drops and blows by himself. We just follow updates, basically. So we're trying to crack the CK code. We force CK to go on shows with Black Bones, open before Black Bones, then Black Bones will perform, but people will not really know who he was. So like, this Batman and Robin thing is not working. We kind of need to have CK have his own thing. Otherwise, Black Bones, because of how active he is, will drown CK. So one had already just injected some funds and some resources. So CC was like, you know what? let's go on some media tour, take CK and Black Bones to Ghana, do some media, take them to the UK, do some media, blah, blah. So I said, all right, cool. They went to Ghana, I went straight to London, and they were coming to meet me in London. So when they got to Ghana, I think Black Bones, I can't remember the exact story. They got into the studio with some artists in Ghana. Just, you know how artists do the play me your song, let me play my song before we now decide what we're going to make. Do you get what I mean? So CK played his song. I don't even think it was his session. It probably was Black Bones' session, but it was just everybody just play music. And CK played that Love Nwantitit song. And Kwame Eugene just jumped in the booth and was like, what the hell is this sound? And he got in the booth and just dropped a verse. Immediately, Shay sends me the verse. I just landed in London. I heard this verse. I was like, huh? What is this? Who is this guy? This guy gave us some sweet Ghanaian, mad, unassuming vibes on the verse. I'm like, damn, like, this is what I'm talking about. This sounds like a sick remix. We didn't even have a remix in mind at the time. Like, damn, this sounds sick. So, because obviously part of our strategy was we had already decided if Love Nwantitit is the sound, then he's a lover boy. You're a lover boy. TK, you're a ladies man. This is your brand. However that's going to look, we'll figure it out, right? So I said, okay, whatever features you're going to be doing has to be somebody who's got the ladies man audience ahead of you. So you can be buying real fans rather than just doing features for feature's sake. So after we got comedy, you said, okay, who's got this ladies market in Nigeria that can get on this record? We shall narrow everything down to Jobo because Jobo was flames at the time. My baby, nobody, all those songs are hot. So Jobo and CK have a relationship. CK reached out to him, Jobo did it. Myself and his label had a relationship, so we cleared on the side, did the song. First remix came out, Love Nwantitit remix, dropped the song. Boom, song just started creeping into everywhere. Like the original never dropped before. I was like, okay, the song is doing this thing. Okay. So they end up in London. Now I set up media rounds for them in the UK. Shopsy was a huge part of this. And 90% of the calls we'll call media houses and be like, we have CK and Black Bones in town for media rounds, blah, blah, blah. And at least 70% of the responses like, oh, Black Bones, bring him, bring him, bring him. You said, who's the other guy again? He said, oh, we have CK in town. I'm like, CK, we're not really quite familiar with him. I'm like, okay, don't worry, just hold on a second. I'll send you his stuff. So I'll send Love Nwantitit and send his stuff. And they're like, oh, I don't know this guy, but his music is dope. Bring him, we'd like to talk to him. That's how CK got into most of the interviews. Because Black Bones was already raving a sensation from here. Social media was already doing crazy skits. People already knew for the dumbest things. You know, even Semtex in London was like DMing Black Bones, I want to see you before you leave. So like, there was a lot of attention on Black. People didn't even know who CK was. So after we had done this, Shopsy himself had seen the reaction from the media in the UK saying, this boy is musical. He's dope, but the media just don't know of him yet. So Shopsy said, you know what, let's go to one of these big malls in the UK. CK can play the keyboard. So we got into one of these malls. It was actually CK and Shopsy. And CK told him, just play Beethoven, play some cool classic. And CK went to the keyboard and started giving them, and then the whole mall just gathered and Shopsy filmed it. And then we used that as content again and just used it to spike like the UK media. And they were like, oh, who's this kid? And they started researching his music. And then he got into social media conversations. He came back to Nigeria. Now, obviously, because we had done those media rounds in Ghana and in the UK, there are certain OAPs that were plugged in consciously to Black and CK. So that evidently helped the music push. Come back to Nigeria, Love Nwantitit remix. It's doing a whole madness by itself. Obviously, we're pushing it. Of course, this summer we've called all the DJs, we've plugged the DJs, we've plugged everything we can plug, but it's not a natural Niger hit. So we're just like, let's do what we can. Let's just push it sharp. Then we're going into the clubs. They're playing Love Nwantitit in the club. I'm like, okay. If they can play this song in the club and people can do, we're heading somewhere. And we kept on pushing, So one will call me and say, hey, VPN now, how far? Where's our next single? What's going on? You guys are spending 2 months on this record. What's going on? Normally, no madness. I'm just like, give us some time. Boys in the studio is recording. Give us some time. Boys in the studio is recording. 1 month. Give us some time. Boys in the studio is recording. My VP is like, come, you just joined this company. Are you stalling? Did we bring the right person? Like, what's going on? You've sat on one record for like how long? And I'm like, not intentional. what these boys have been recording, I don't think can follow up with this jam. However, this jam in itself, every time we push, it responds so quickly. So I'm like, I don't think we should move on from this song so quick. Let's see what we can do with it. You know, one day we wake up, Winnie Harlow has done a challenge on TikTok to the song, random, because we had plugged. So Shion Omis, the content guy, had plugged. He knows all the top influencers to do what with. So he had plugged them, Chop Daily, Sarah Chips, all those dancers on the song. I think Sarah Chips had done this routine that Winnie Harlow then copied, right? Obviously, Winnie Harlow, it's like a hot topic. The thing took a life of its own. We woke up one morning, just saw the TikTok, and I called one. I'm like, oh, I don't know how this thing happened though. I don't know Winnie Harlow before, but here goes. Please plug in. And when I was like, damn, this is definitely conversation. They did global press, did some small plugins to it. The thing spiraled from there. COVID hit. Everybody's on lockdown. One day we are watching IG Live. Diddy's kids are on Diddy's actual IG Live, but it's his kids, not him. They go on his IG Live. And they're on IG Live with Winnie Harlow. And they're putting each other onto new music. Dad, they'll play the song, everybody would jam to the song. And then it was Winnie's time, and she was like, oh, I need to put you guys onto this song. And she played Love Nwantitit on Diddy's Live, unprovoked. So you could tell that she had bought into the song naturally. And then the kids were asking her, what song is this? And she would say love, she would pronounce the thing one kind. She had spelled it for them. And obviously in spelling, the Diddy's Live is like, how many people tuned in? So you're putting this song onto whoever is watching, right? So we took that again, sent it to one and more on Diddy's Live. Love Nwantitit is slamming. We don't know why. Go and push this thing. When I pushed it, thing went again. I'm like, this song just keeps giving us green for everything we do for it. It pushes. So Mayor Kun, I think, dropped Gang the same period, and I put out a remix project for Gang that I'd done like different territories, East Africa, West Africa, whatever. But I guess because of the kind of song it was, it didn't hit. It hit here, but the remixes in all those territories didn't really smash. So Sheyi once again, Restless A&R, comes to me the next morning, boss. Man, I just saw this thing that Mayor Kun did with this Gang remix. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but it didn't pop. But can you imagine this Ckay's so beautiful, so easy love song in different languages? And I'm just like, literally, I was just like, okay, not bad. So I sent an email to Warner, would like to, great idea, we've seen this Mayor Kun thing, want to do this Love Nwantitit EP tape. And on first read, when I was like, nope, sorry, we're not done with it. This just feels like another store. Bro, are you giving us a new song? Or are you getting out of this place? Like, what the hell is this? Like, how far? You want to die on this song? Basically, natural reaction. So I'm like, nah, man, I just feel like this song has more to give us. Like, it's not even a feeling. It's there on the sheets. Like, for every 1 hour you put, the song cuts it back. So let's see how far we can push this thing. And it wasn't even like it was intentional. We're actually recording, but we weren't satisfied with anything we're recording. So it was like, while we're still recording, let's keep failing this, right? So when I rejected, and I went back to the VP, Timmy, because Timmy and I had a really good relationship. So I called Timmy, I'm like, man, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I have in mind, blah, blah, blah. Timmy, being a risk taker, always believes. And she was like, okay, you know what? And she cleared me. She was even the one that leveled with me. I said, dog, like, you just came in. This is how Warner sees this thing. They are not sure if you're the right guy for the job because, like, one win and you like, you want to sit on it kind of. So I'm like, okay, fair. I'm good. So when I got that perspective, I was like, so what can you do for me? Based off of, let's find a midpoint. Timmy was like, okay, you know what? I'll give you 2 weeks. Make this thing happen in 2 weeks, and I'll make a case for you. 2 weeks. Now, when Timmy says, make this thing happen, she means get your records, get your features, get the stems, get your clearances, get your split sheets. Because label, they don't want to hear nonsense that you release one song, somebody's coming for them. So get everything from beginning to end, then come and meet me when they are ready in 2 weeks. So I'm like, yeah, in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, let's try. So I call you. We kind of have a green, it's not even green light, yellow light. I said, let's try. But depending on how far we go, you know. At the time, I was working with Cuppy. I was helping her do her project, original Cuppy, her album. So Cuppy had called me and said, I should come to the studio to listen to some stuff she'd done. So I got into the studio. She played Jollof on the jet. I just finished the song. And then the song was playing, and then Rema came on, and I was like, okay, Rema. The song was slapping, and then the second verse came on, and the song dropped. I wish I could play it for you. And then this guy came in Swahili. The beat dropped, and this guy just came in. I'm just like, wait, pause. What is this? A couple was laughing. She played it again. I was like, damn, who is this guy? She was like, some guy called Rayvani. I'm like, huh? Rayvani? Never heard of him till that day. So I went on my YouTube straight, Googled the guy, Rayvani, went on his YouTube, saw streams. This guy's on millions of views. I'm just like, so this guy's an actual big deal. It's not even just one artist that he discovered from somewhere. We just don't know about him because he's not in our territory. So I'm like, Cuppy, please, I need you to put me onto this guy. I'm working on a project, a remix project for a record from Warner. I didn't even tell her who he was. A remix project for a record from Warner, and I'm trying to do territorial remixes. And she was like, okay, I don't talk to Rayvani directly, but my guy, Colin, is the one who helped me do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. She put me in touch with Colin. Now, obviously, Colin being referred to me by Cuppy took me a bit more seriously. So he called me. I was like, what exactly are you trying to do? Are you sure it's a Warner project? I don't want to go and get all these remixes done now. I won't get proper marketing. So I was like, yeah, so Warner, blah, blah, blah. So I explained everything to Colin. Colin was like, oh, dope. So Colin goes and comes back and sends me an email saying, okay, I can get you Rayvani, but check out this guy in South Africa, Gemini Major, and check out Shego. There's two guys from South Africa. I checked them out, both doing their streams as well. So I'm like, I don't mind. So Colin got me 3 guys. Rayvani dropped his verse in less than 24 hours. Shego and Gemini dropped their verse like the next day. So we had already done the West African with Joe Boy and Comedy that was out. We had South Africa and we had East Africa all done. This was less than week 1. So on like day 2, I had 3 verses done, 3 remixes done. So immediately I sent it to Temi, just like, we're not done yet, but just so you know that we're moving. So immediately Temi said, she was like, oh, 3 already? Like, okay, nice one, yeah. So I wake up Monday morning, Temi had sent me an email, check your mail. I checked my mail. The Delaghetto, apparently Larry Gaga has a song with him and Ajabo last now, 2019. Temi called Delaghetto, put him on the record. Delaghetto, for context, is probably one of the biggest streaming artists in Latin America, the whole Latin America Spanish side. So when Temi heard Delaghetto's verse, she heard Love Nwantitit in Spanish. She herself, she lost her mind. When she sent it, she was like, listen to this thing. When I heard it, I was like, then I went on Spotify, I saw the guy's streams. I was like, Temi, please, thank you. And then that was 4 remixes. Then Temi went on, like nobody sent her message. Went to go and get Franglish. Franglish is one of the biggest black French artists in France. Got Franglish on a French remix. We got 2 German remixes. And then we had like 7 or 8 remixes done. We're not up to week 2. We're not gotten to week 2 yet. So now at this point, me, I'm chasing clearances because I already have enough verses to put out a remix. So I'm like, Sheyi, oh yeah, start chasing all the stems, everything. We start chasing all the clearances back to back. I think Joe Boy them gave us the hardest time with clearance, but we sure did all the clearances. Next thing, somebody DM'd Ckay, some guy called El Grande Toto. He's a Moroccan artist. I said to Ckay, yeah, your song is doing crazy in Morocco. I did a cover to it. I wanted to put it out just to, Kotzi just DM you. And Ckay just sent it to the group saying, hey, this guy just DM'd me saying he did a cover to the song. What do you guys think? And I'm just like, dog, tell him we're not doing covers. Tell him to get into the studio, record it properly, record an actual verse. We are working on a remix project. And Ckay said the guy just came back with an actual verse. And that's how we got Morocco added to it. So we had like 8 versions of the remix project. Took it to Warner. Warner pushed it out. After obviously all the clearances and everything, Warner pushed it out. And for me, that was my first experience of a real-time global release. Bro, all Warner offices carried this Ckay song. I was seeing posts from Warner Peru, Warner Colombia, Warner India. It was the first time we had a global release where the song was being pushed across territories, right? So we had this song that was so sweet. Imagine a chorus like, very easy, simple. And then you have that chorus with somebody singing the intentions of the love song in a language that you understand, right? So the song broke easily in different territories, easily. The East African one, Rivani's version was even had more views on YouTube than CK's version. We had to like sync it just to be able to control the strings, you know. So when I look back, 4 years after the song has been released, and the song is doing crazy numbers, and people are like, damn, CK's Love Nwantitit. I think back and I'm like, we did this thing, man. We actually did, because there was a lot of work that went into putting out that record. And I remember for me, the beautiful thing was seeing how all the different elements fit together, because we'll sit down in music meetings on Mondays, and when a new song drops, naturally we we go down the charts, like Apple Music, Spotify, we go down, and then Moyo is like, guys, two new songs have dropped. We are now on number 58. Let's see what we can do. And we come up with a strategy in the meeting. And then as the ideas are coming in, whoever is handling TikTok is saying, oh, we can actualize this on TikTok this way. And we can do this on Trailer that way. And before the end of the meeting, we already have a holistic plan and what each person is going to go and do in their different departments to try and activate the plan. We come back next week, Monday, and we see the live results of our actions. We're back to like 40 something. Do you get? So it's like, this thing is not rocket science. It's not, there's metrics and there's things that you need to do in it. And for me, that space was where I really, really understood this music business game from a different perspective, from the publishing, from the sync, from the licensing. I learned all of those things working directly with Warner for 1 year. Um, After that, I did that for a year and I resigned because there were some complications between the partnership between Chocolate City and Warner. And I was caught in the middle because I was reporting and working out of Chocolate City office based off of my territory, but I was reporting to Warner globally. So now there were a lot of things that were happening in Nigeria that I was caught up between, you know, like kind of like picking sides. And I really just wanted to do my job. And when it started becoming like, are you here or are you there? I was just like, okay, guys, please, like, let me just go and do my thing. So I resigned, and back on the streets, I've been trying to use my time to build my own agency, still consult for Warner, do a lot of things for them as a consultant. They're looking to come back into the country. Hopefully we'll see how that goes. But I mean, after I left that, I think I had enough basic information to now do what I've been doing on the management side and on the A&R side with a lot more information, a lot more experience, with a lot more direction, you know. So I guess that brings us back to now, um, which is what we're trying to use the agency Africa to do now. Use all of these experiences that I've gained from throwing parties to managing artists to making music to promoting events, promoting artists, and putting all of that under one umbrella to say, listen, as far as music and entertainment is concerned, we are your one-stop shop. Like, we're not a label, but we can do literally anything a label can do for you. We're just not a label, you know. So what I've been trying to do is use all of that years of experience, put into a structure that can now not only serve the music and entertainment industry, but also serve other industries. Because I like to see it as, if you're a talent manager or you're dealing with branding of artists and stuff like that, it's really just branding and marketing, brand strategy, go to market. This is really what we do for artists. Find somebody that's got a skill or a product that doesn't know how to sell it. You help him, groom him, refine him, shape him, train him, let him know how to do the thing, and then push him to the market. Every industry needs that. Agri, politics, real estate, every industry, right? Because we know the channels to get people's attention. We know the influencers to use to get people's attention. We know it's easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, people say that other than pastors, I mean, in today's world, I don't even know if other than pastors is right, but other than pastors, artists are probably the most people with the most religious following, in terms of like, they follow you, you know. And I think in today's world, probably more artists have it than pastors, you know. So if we're in an industry where go to markets belongs to us, you know, I mean, just use it well, you know, I mean. So that's really where I am right now in this current state in my life, where I'm trying to use all of my life's experiences to make as much possible changes and impacts as I can across life in general. from CSR to just different things. I've been doing some CSR stuff for a period of time now, and back in my hometown, and naturally I got away Ogun State. Another story. Um, and naturally, there've been a lot of people that have been asking me when I'm coming to declare for office, right? Not because they care about me or they think I can run for office. There's just a natural assumption in their heads that when people go out of their way to do something so charitable, it's only a matter of time till they come and ask for something. It's a natural, it's how people are kind of wired. So I've been doing this CSR thing back home for like 4 years, and people are saying, "Oh, election is around the corner. When I go to declare," I'm like, "Actually, This is not politically motivated. I'm doing what I can for my people in the capacity that I can." And that in itself for me is another message that I think I want to use this year to drive. I've been doing this CSR for 4 years without publicizing, without making any noise. I carry some celebrities from Lagos and go and do my thing. There's documentation of everything, but it's just not being publicized, right? However, this year I want to publicize it for the sole purpose of this message. Now I feel like elections are coming very much around the corner. If you and I can do the little that we can for the people around us, we are not only showing love, and I'll explain to you, we are investing in a lot of people's self-worth, and then we're saving ourselves. I'll break it down. Showing love is easy. You give them food, you give them money, you are showing love, right? Now, self-worth, you give somebody a meal, right? You do an outreach and you serve meals, free lunch, for example, rice and meat, free. And you give these guys out of love, just go and chill with them, play with them, show them love, feed them, and then go your way. 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, very soon, unfortunately, because of the time that we are, a politician is going to go and meet those same people. Very, very soon, shortly after, it's very likely to be the same thing that you offered them for free, and canvas them to go and vote for him based off of that same thing. Now, the chances are, Shayo gave me this food for free yesterday and told me, "God bless you." And I said, "What do you want?" And he said nothing, and he went his way. Now, Michael has come tomorrow with the same food and said, "As I'm giving you this food now, I must go to that place and put your thumbprint first." Shayo that gave me the food yesterday has reminded me that somebody can do this thing for me without condition. So I'm not so attached to this guy's conditioned gift, because somebody reminded me 2 weeks ago that this thing is really not that deep. Self-worth. You've reminded them that my vote is really more than this pack of rice, because somebody gave me a pack of rice yesterday and they asked me for vote. So, do you understand? I've seen videos where a certain politician sent some people to an environment to go and feed people, and they packed them with the food and they can't chase them away because people are waking up, right? That's empowering them. Now, saving ourselves. The way this country is going, if we're not careful, the average guy on the street is just looking for survival. It doesn't mean to hurt you, it doesn't mean to hurt me. But when he's hungry and he's broke and there's nothing to do, he looks at you and he realizes that you have a car. You're okay. If I steal this iPhone from you, you're not going to lose your life. We're paying you. And another day, a couple of days, you'll buy another one. Meanwhile, from that little act, I've fed myself and I've fed my family. I'm snatching your phone. You've seen it as I'm a thief. I'm motivated to feed myself and my family, but there's nothing else to do than take what's available. That's where Nigeria is getting. That's where we are now. It's not even where we're getting to. We are complaining about burning people in Sokoto. They are burning somewhere on Admiralty Road. It's right next to us now. You show these guys on your streets love. The day is going to happen. They may not be able to protect you, but they may be able to give you heads up and say, "Bro, go and lock yourself up. It's about to go down." Because you see, the guys they are really angry at, you can't reach them. There are 20 Mopo deep in their convoy, guarded and bulletproof up. So the next available target is a person that is me and you that can afford to drive a Benz, but does not have Hilux behind. and they know that you are driving a 10 million naira car. So if they slap your phone of 300k from it will pain you, but you will move on with your life. Versus them and whatever it is that is burning them in the moment. That's where we are. So the message ultimately is do what you can for the people that you can around you. It can be 5 naira, do it. You're doing for yourself, you're doing for the person in front of you, you're doing for your collectively. If we wait for the people in office to do everything, nothing's gonna get done. Do what you can. So like we have the power to amplify, for example. So this is what I'm saying now. We have the industry. I can get 1 or 2 artists to buy into this agenda. I can get 1 or 2 artists to amplify this agenda. Do you get what I mean? So it's really use what you have now to now create a greater and bigger cause of change in the world that you live in, Because I look at myself and I say, okay, I've spent a little over 10 years in the music industry, maybe not up to 15 years. And I already have one of the top 3 record labels in the world under my belt. So as far as the music and entertainment industry is concerned, really and truly, what else is there for me to do? I'm not going to become the CEO of Warner Music. Do you get what I mean? So I've come from the streets, not knowing what I can do or what I'm going to do. Now I'm a consultant for the top 3 label in the world in the same industry. I'm on top of the game some way, somehow. So my next line of thought is, okay, even if you're not on the top, you are very, very close to the top. Where else can we now start looking for how to add value? And do you get what I mean? So I mean, for me, that's really, really, really where like all of my experiences have led me to see what I can now use all of this non-music music related experience for music, but also away from music. And I still refer to him in a conversation. I refer to him in a lot of conversations actually, just Pastor Williams. And a lot of people don't know him, but I refer to him and I say there's this one man that I had in my life and I still have. And he played a role so very crucial in my life. And I believe that he played that same role in a lot of young lives at the time. And I was a very troubled kid. A lot of people don't know. I was a very, very extremely troubled kid. And Pastor Paul was one of my usual go-tos. And regardless of how crazy the chaos was, Pastor Paul would simplify it so like I would go into his office so troubled and I'll leave feeling so stupid. Like I'll leave feeling like, why did you think about this yourself? Like why did you come all the way here for this man to tell you this thing and you look very stupid? So he'll tell me, I'll never give you fish, I'll teach you how to fish. He would always give me like he'll give you answers, but he would leave you with something to go and figure out. Then I'll go and come back and give him my understanding of what I figured out, and then he'll guide me if it's right or wrong. You get what I mean? So people like that, environments like that, also helped me till today to be very patient, calculative, think thoroughly, accommodative. I look at a lot of possibilities. I feel like I speak for myself, but I also want to probably say that I think that a lot of products of Alte were very unique wherever we go. We stand out in circles that we're in, and I think it's a lot of things that were put in us at a young age. There's a strong level of determination and persistence that we have that even in all the pressure, you still remember not to go out of a certain, there's a level of madness you can explore. And I'm so grateful for it, because I feel like the personal stuff I said I had to do. So never talked about this on camera to anybody. Never talked about it to anyone who is really not even close to me. You'll be shocked when I tell you as well. But recently I just finished a whole change of name. Alright, I changed my name fully. You all knew me growing up as Michael Moro. I now identify as Olamide Olaitan. I was raised as an Edo boy, but I now identify as full-grown Ijebu from Agoiwe. Backstory: complicated childhood. My mom married a man, had 4 kids for him. Didn't go well. They split. She met another man, had something with the man. Families interrupted, resolved her issue with the previous man. Then she came back into the home with the previous man, and then she had me. So I was born into Umoru's home as an Umoru and raised as an Umoru. Then found out midway into my life that Mr. Umoru was actually not my biological dad. So that messed with me mentally for I don't even know how long. Mentally, I don't know how long, because random conversation of what state are you from? I'll just go lost in thoughts. I'll be asking myself, damn, really and truly, what state are you from? Are you Edo or and it was crazy. And when everything kind of went from bad to worse for me was in 100 level, this story I told you about, resuming school, first semester, throwing party in school and emptying the school. And the night I threw that party in Lagos that everybody came for was the night my biological father died. So I went back from club to Ogun State for my dad's funeral. He died Muslim. So they had to bury him the next day, less than 24 hours. Yeah, my biological dad. And just getting the whole circumstance around my story of origin, the complication about where I was raised from, where I am from, etc. It all could have messed me up, but also once again, which is kind of why I give credit to Pastor Akpo, because of people like that, I was able to hold under such pressures without losing my mind, if that makes any sense. And for me, it's like now I have a clear sense of where I'm from, who I am, my origin, my heritage, which is why I actively go back home to my hometown to do something every year. It's my way of reconnecting with my dad. We didn't really have that much of a relationship. I knew of him, we spoke a couple of times, but I didn't grow up with him. So this is my own kind of little attachment to my origin. So Olamide Olaitan is my new name. I'll show you my passport. Oh yeah, that's what's on my identities. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, sir. Olamide Olaitan is my surname. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, touch on that. Yeah, because I feel like the reason why I also Olaitan is the surname, Olamide Olaitan. So the reason why I also, I guess one of the reasons why I also agreed to do this is because of information like this. Why? Because 30 something years in my life, I've really never got to speak on this publicly. Um, a lot of people have questions in their heads about why I have so many names and identities and alter egos, and you don't know if I'm Michael, if I'm Olamide, if I'm Moro, if I'm Olaitan. People call me Giddy Groove, don't even know what my name is. They just stay with Giddy Groove for safety, and I wouldn't want to discuss something like this on a random forward, So, but for me, this is a very personal space. You've known me since literally we were born, so literally, so it's not hard for me, and anybody that asks me now, I just tell them, oh, go and watch Alte Daily interview because I can't explain it twice. Like, I've told Alte Daily my P, go and listen to it, So, for reference, all of you that are asking questions, I'm not a 419 guy, I did not kill anybody, no fraud involved. My record is with immigrations, all my papers are intact, all my change of name documents are relevant, you can see them. But for anybody who's got questions, I very much love my Omoro dad and my family. He's still very much alive. We still spoke yesterday. He raised me in this church godly way. Although tough love, but it's come up to be extremely useful for me in life. So I don't take it for granted at all. But I still very much have realized and have identified and connected with where I'm originally from, who I originally am. I'm a crown prince from my hometown. They don't mess with me there. I have my KBSC on speed dial. I do everything I want to do in my hometown. 13 years after my father's death, he's more of a legend every day. I go home and I get unnecessary access based on who he was. And it's alarming for me because 13 years after, like you assume some people would have moved on with their lives, So for me, even that in itself, every time I go back home and I hear a new story about my dad, I realize this life is really not about bags. It's really not about bags, because there's people in my hometown that's 10 times richer than my dad. My dad's funeral, I saw his junior staff pull up with mopos and G-Wagons and stuff. My dad drove the Kia Rio that the government gave him till he died. There's people who are billionaires that died last year in my hometown. Nobody talking about them today. 13 years after, I go to my hometown without telling the king I'm coming. I get to his gate and they tell the king, go and tell him this man's son is here. And he come outside from his room 13 years after in his grave. So for me, even his life after death shows me a lot and it teaches me a lot. And it guides a lot of decisions that I make. Because at the end of the day, the things that you might kill for, really and truly, where are you going to take them to? So for me, I feel like my life in itself has made me, I guess people don't understand my person because I don't think I'm a normal human being. I don't think my experiences are very normal as well. I think that a lot of things that I've been through in life have made me who I am. And if you don't necessarily understand my journey, you won't fully understand my personality. So a lot of people think I'm too old for my age mentally, and I kind of am because I've been dealing with life problems and solving life problems from the age of 7, 8. Real life problems. Not I'm broke, I need pocket money. Like, you get what I mean? Like real life issues, like who doesn't know their identity? Like, real issues. So I've had to like pause, think, be patient for so long. I've had to move out of my parents' house because I needed sanity and move to the streets and be independent. I've been paying rent for over 10 years. If I was living in my father's house, all that rent money, I won't buy a house for Ireland. Paying rent, paying salaries, still grinding, paying my own bills, taking care of the people that I can in my own family, doing all of these things and maintaining sanity in this same Lagos. And for me, like to answer the question about how it felt staying back, at the time, even at the time, I actually didn't regret it because I always felt like this time will come where everybody will go and come back and need a go-to guy. And I'll just make sure that my mindset was, if you're gonna stay here, make sure while you're here, you're the best at whatever it is that can possibly be done. So that anybody that goes and comes back, if they need anything, they can reach out to you. And it's happened like that over the last 2, 3 years. A lot of my friends, a lot of people, all in better places now. I mean, even you, all in better positions now, coming back. Some people don't even know where to go and buy shoelace. Say, I give you how far, where did they sell this thing for Lagos? I'm just like, it's that simple, and there's certain things you can break a bread off, there's certain things you can't, but being the guy on ground has helped me find my way around not just the industry, but the environment fully, all angles, I know how the country works. I know nothing that can happen in Nigeria now can shake me, really and truly. Like, other than you need to travel most of the to calm your head down. But, I'm born and bred here, raised here, traveled how many times I can count. All the times I've spent outside this country, not to 1 year, collectively. So I have a lot of passion and hope and faith and belief in what Nigeria still can be. I'm one of those very few people, as frustrating as it can be. And I believe that a lot of individuals like us can do so much from where we are, not necessarily until we get into the offices or even get into politics. If more comfortable people like us that have a voice, I can turn down the politicians' bribes and can eat without being sorted by any guy, can all come together, we'll do a lot more. Because the high volume of masses can't do anything, even collectively. All they can do is exert violence. They can't do anything. So the few of us, the elites, that can eat, drive car without government giving us money, let us be the one that will stand and say, man, what going on? Yep. Big love. Yep. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. Big love, bro. Thank you so much. Big love, bro. Thank you so much. Big love, bro.
Alte Daily, the alternative network.